Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Social Work Bubble podcast. I'm your host, Laura. I am very excited about today. We have our special guest, Tenisha Barnes, here with us to talk all about social work leadership, diversity, burnout. Thank you for Tanisha for coming on today.
Yes, thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here with everyone.
I am excited too. I feel like we're going to be talking about some important things. Do you want to go ahead and kind of just introduce yourself and kind of what you're currently doing in your own journey in social work?
Yes, sure. So, once again, my name is Tenisha Barnes, and I am a licensed master social worker, currently working in community mental health, while also building the foundation of my own practice, safe space behavioral health. I'm also pursuing my LCSW and with the concentration in administration and leadership. My focus is on improving SS, leadership, and representation within behavioral health spaces, especially for communities that are often underserved.
That's awesome. That's incredible. You have a lot going on then. That's quite a lot on your plate.
Yes, yes, it is. But I'm managing.
That's awesome. What led you to initially like pursuing social work?
I'm not going to hit the cliche, I wanted to help someone. I was drawn to social work because I've always had a passion for helping people find healing and wholeness.
Hmm.
I've experienced firsthand the power of someone truly see you, support you, and hold spaces for your growth. And I
Yeah.
felt like as a social worker, you often the perfect blend, right? Of advocacy,
Hmm.
empathy, and leadership. And that's where I could not only help individuals, but also influence systems and policies that impact them as well.
Hmm. Yeah. That is what I love about social work, because it feels like we can do a lot in the role that we have, like individually and at a bigger scale.
Definitely, I've worked with individuals, and currently I'm working within like community, overseeing a multidisciplinary team, and now
Hmm.
not able to just help one individual, but to be able to help a community. So you definitely could do so many different things within social work.
Hmm. Absolutely. Now, as much as I am obsessed with social work, there's obviously a lot that's not cool. What have you noticed are just like some important gaps in social work leadership and diversity in the profession? What have you kind of observed in your experience?
One of the biggest gaps I've noticed is the lack of diversity in leadership roles,
Hmm.
especially among social workers, like clinician.
Yeah.
Often those with lived experience or deep community connection aren't the ones making the decisions, right?
That's
It's
true.
often someone that doesn't understand social work, that doesn't understand um empathy, sympathy, right? The core values that we live
Hmm.
by. So I feel like there also a gap in mentorship and leadership development for emerging social workers, which impact the representation at the top level of agencies and organizations. We need more social workers in leadership roles, making those executive decisions that are impacting everyone.
Hmm. No, that's so true. Because you're right. Like I'm thinking about a lot of even just like local places or like nonprofit leaders or something, and it does just feel like a big disconnect a lot of the time where I'm like, I don't I don't know if you're really understanding the issues or what's going on in the community right now.
Yes, and it's a lot of policies being pushed and a lot of agendas being met, and it's from people that don't understand the policies, that's not getting impact, that are not
Hmm.
working face to face with the individuals that's impacted by these policies and about the decisions that are being made.
Yeah. How do you see that then just, I guess, like trickle down and affect the social workers doing the work?
It impacts social workers tremendously, on different scales, right? If someone that's not a social worker making a policy or pushing or a leader, and they don't understand how that's going to impact the client, and you're the one that's doing the face work, you're the one that's hitting the boots, like hitting the ground, and your boots are running.
Hmm.
You have to deal with the aftermath of dealing with the clients.
Yeah.
We're in a circumstance right now that a lot of social workers are facing, where some people might not get their food stamps. So the
Mm-hmm.
social workers that are right there, they have to deal with how that impacts families, children, elders.
Yeah.
And if we was in leadership, if we had more social workers in leaderships, we will understand how this decision affects communities, families, homes, the world. And
Mm-hmm.
probably a different decision could have been made if a different leader or a different policyholder was there, because they will understand
Mm-hmm.
human and behavior. They will understand that this is going to create a different environment, because now people will go without.
Yeah. Really just having like an informed, empathetic perspective, honestly, where like so many social workers, we know it because it's obviously what we've been taught, but we have these lived experiences of just like working with other humans and seeing where they're at and seeing, oh, like this is why this is important and all of that. And when people miss out on all the importance of that work and all that information and education, it's just like there's such a disconnect. And it's just like we're just doing silly things that are affecting so many people.
Yes, definitely.
What I always think that as much as I love social work, there's always a lot that needs to change in terms of dealing with some of these gaps, like getting more diversity in leadership roles, even like supporting more leadership development in social work. What do we need to shift in order to see that happen?
We need to be more intentional about mentorship and leadership development.
Hmm.
That means creating spaces where diverse voices are not only represented, but empowered to lead. Even on a
Mm,
small scale, supervisors and educators could start by implementing different perspectives, providing equal opportunities for growth and supporting professional development beyond the clinical
mhm.
level. In my business, Safe Space Behavioral Health, I've created a mentorship program for inspiring and social workers that, like, when I decided to be a social worker, like, I didn't have a mentor. And I was like, okay,
Mhm.
what do I want to do? Like, I could be anything right now as a social worker, right? The world is mine. You have your degree, you ready to go change the world. But
Mhm.
if you don't have like a mentor or someone that's kind of like helping you guide to where you want to go, it is really hard to navigate that. So I think first getting a good mentor, having someone
Yeah.
that could kind of guide you so that you're not doing 20 different things, right? You have someone that's
Mhm.
kind of like you're talking to and that can help you process where you headed, where you going. So having workshops for different spaces to educate them on what social workers do and some of the things that we are trained to do, right?
Mhm.
How to do a crisis intervention, right? If a client is going crazy or anything is happening, the first thing we're not going to do is, oh, he's danger. It could be something so small that this client is acting like this for, that we could go fix and we could go solve or we could go help. But a person that's not
Mhm.
educated is going to automatically think something differently. So creating space where we
Yeah.
could go in and train and educate and talk and lead and inspire.
Mm. That is so true. I love what you're saying about mentorship too. 'Cause I something I've been thinking about is we obviously so many people have supervision or even peer supervision or something, but that's just not enough because also supervision is still a very like usually clinical thing or very much like client focused. And I feel like a lot of supervisors are also overworked. They've got a lot going on. I hear a lot of horror stories about supervision. And so we also, I think for a lot of social workers, we just need more. We need more. We need more connections, more support. And it can be hard to network in this profession when everyone is kind of tired and exhausted, but it's also so essential in creating a lot of change and lifting each other up.
I agree. I've heard so many horror stories. I have a horror story of my own about
Hmm.
supervision, and I feel like sometimes when our job offer supervision, we take it. Sometimes it's not a good match. Sometimes the person
Yeah.
it's not seasoned. It could be so many different things. So matching
Hmm.
up with someone, that could be a mentor, right? That probably not giving you supervision, right? That's giving you
Yeah.
mentorship once a quarter, right? Once every 3 months, just to make sure that your goals are aligning and that you're meeting your vision.
Hmm.
And
Absolutely.
And investing in yourself as a social worker, right? You have to invest in
Mm.
yourself, in your craft, in your vision in order to make it to make it a reality.
Yeah. That is very true. A lot of the times, I was just talking to someone earlier about how like they didn't have a lot going into like social work school, and so they really had to do what they had to do to connect with professors and network. And I mean, they really set themselves up for success there. And it is a lot of work. It's hard when maybe you're in school or you're at work and you're working a lot, but I think it is through doing those like making those connections and still developing yourself where you really see a difference.
Yes.
Mm. In terms of like social work school, do you feel like we need to be changing things there too in terms of like promoting more leadership and leadership development? Because I feel like I went to school and it was very specific when I got my master's of like I'm doing clinical social work for children, youth, and families, or like it was a very specific thing. And so even though I would like to eventually become more of a leader in the social work world, like that was not where my education was. Like it was so clinical focused. And I feel like we could potentially do a better job. It's important to be specialized, but to also have a balance of social workers are in so many spaces, clinically, also politically and socially. So we need to have a variety of skills and knowing how to navigate those spaces instead of just knowing a very like only clinical social work. But I mean, what are you thinking there in terms of social work education?
Definitely feel like it should be an elective if you want to do leadership. I definitely think that should be
Hmm.
implemented. I knew from the jump I wanted to be in leadership. When I first
Yeah.
when I got my first social work job after obtaining my bachelor's degree, I knew that I wanted to do leadership. In
Hmm.
in in that space. And I told my supervisor, and she, you got to work your way up. You got to work it. But didn't want to invest in me. It wasn't until I got
Yeah.
my second job as a social worker where this person invested in me and was like, you could do this, right? Like, and
Wow.
she wasn't a social worker. She wasn't a social worker, and she was just like, you have the skill sets. You're innovative. You come up with good ideas. You're client centered. You had balance. And she started giving me books to read about leadership. Started telling me about certifications to take. She started putting me in spaces like, hey, Tanisha's going to lead this meeting, or Tanisha have this idea. And if it wasn't for her, I think I would have still been trapped. I would have still been trapped with
Yeah.
being a worker and not being a leader. And that job helped me so much that I had got my first supervisory role. And I was
Wow.
overseeing a short stay crisis stabilization unit. I overseen a multidisciplinary team where we took in people that were having suicide ideations and self-harming behavior involuntarily and voluntarily, and I overseeing that as my first leadership role. And I'm like, oh, this is my first big girl job. Like, I'm doing this. I and I was really good at it, and I just invested in myself. I read books, I listened to podcasts, and
Hmm.
I took time to learn what type of leader am I and that I want to become.
Mm, that is so interesting. So there's also just a lot of self-development and kind of like a journey internally that you went on too to really discover who am I in this role and as a leader.
Yes.
That's
Yes.
awesome. Wow. This is also the power of someone believing in you. It's so huge. Like sometimes we just don't, again, it's like those horror stories that we just mentioned about supervisors or even like from colleagues or other people, professors or something, where they just can bog you down with a lot of negativity because they don't, for whatever reason. But we kind of forget, like, no, we're so capable. We have so much within us to create so much change. Sometimes we just need to be around the right people or like get access to certain information and we're all set.
Yes.
Wow. How exciting. Okay. So a lot of this, or a lot of this, we're talking about kind of connecting with other people. Um, I know community and building community is a whole part of this for social workers, which can be hard, can be it can be a whole thing. Um, what's important from your perspective about social workers building community?
Community is everything. Social
Mm-hmm.
work can be heavy and we
Yeah.
can't pull from an empty cup. Having a community of peers who understand the work helps keep you grounded and supported. It also
Mm-hmm.
allows us to collaborate, because no one could grow in isolation. Community keep the mission of social work alive and human. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I'm currently studying for my LCSW, and
Yay.
you know what? I need a community. Who else is studying? So I put together a free study group every Tuesday at 7:30 where it's peer led. We're all trying to get this accomplishment. We're all trying to meet this bar. So we study
Yeah,
together. We do a few
that's
questions together.
awesome.
We go over different topics together, and that's community. And so
Mm-hmm.
many people are grateful and thankful because it's free. We're doing this together. We're in
Yeah.
this together. If you get it before me, I'm happy for you. If I get it after you, you're happy for me. So community is everything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I love that sentiment too of you're like, well, I'm studying. I want to study with other people. And you just created a study group. Like you found what you needed, you did what you had to do. I think so often we forget how much power we have, how much control we have to create a lot of change. And if we have an idea and we notice, gosh, I really need more of this, or gosh, I would love support for studying, you can find that or create it yourself. Like it's totally within reach.
I was so surprised. Over 30 people joined the first study
Wow,
group. And I'm like, oh my goodness. Like,
that's
and mind you,
awesome.
it's people from different areas. I am located in Maryland. So
Yeah.
it was people from different areas, different time zones. And I'm like, wow, like the work of community, the effective
Hmm.
ways of community.
Yeah. No, that's insane. That's also something where I don't know, I've realized how energized I get by community too, where, like right now I work remotely, I have my own practice and it's just me. And so it's very isolating. And I think there's a lot more social workers going into private practice or working remotely and or they're in school or whatever. And so it can be isolating in many ways. And then when I'm talking to another social worker, it's just this moment of like, oh, I needed this. Like I needed to be around someone who gets it, someone who's like in a similar position to just like talk about things. Like it's so energizing to be around other social workers who get it, who are excited about it, who are moving through it. It's so essential.
Yes, very important.
Uh, you're doing so much. So I mean, you gave this example of the study group with like 30 people showing up, which is insane. That is so awesome. And I think really shows a need of just people wanting connection and wanting to support each other. What else have you found to be helpful in creating community for yourself?
For me, building community starts with showing up as my full self.
Hmm.
Whether that's through workshops, wellness spaces. I believe in creating spaces where people can connect beyond their roles or titles, where we
Hmm.
can share resources, celebrate each other wins, and learn together. That's where real community forms. I'm a big advocate for self-care. So I do
Hmm.
a lot of self-care. Um, I
What kind of
definitely think
self-care really resonates for you?
right now I am actually learning mat Pilates. I'm like, you know what? I love
Oh,
Pilates so much. I just want to learn how to do it myself. I want to teach a class now. Like I'm feeling inspired. Let me talk everyone into this Pilates because moving around movement
hmm.
um is important, and just creating safe space. That's the name of my brand, right? Safe spaces.
Yeah,
And that's what I want to create in any environment. I want it to be fostered in a safe environment. So I definitely make sure that I show up as my full self by pouring into me so that I could pour into others.
that's incredible. That's the stuff too, where so much of self-care is also just, it's so subjective, but it's just like following your own passions, like maybe what your body's just like really craving or something that just brings you a lot of joy and excitement. Like when we have a full life of things that bring us joy, it does make everything else a lot easier because we have those outlets and things that kind of round things out.
Yes.
Oh, Have there been any struggles in developing community for yourself? Because I remember talking to someone before, um, and we were talking about building community, and they said something where they thought it was difficult to build meaningful community, where maybe on like a Facebook group they could like comment or something, but to get people to show up to something was hard. Have you found that as well, or what's been your experience there?
Since I'm still new in that area, I haven't had any struggle as of yet. I haven't
That's
had anything
awesome.
in person. I do things virtually because I'm
Hmm.
remote as well.
Yeah.
Um, but if I was having that struggle, I definitely say like stay encouraged, stay motivated, don't let up, keep promoting yourself. The right people will follow you, and things only get better with time.
Hmm. That is very true. A lot of it does also just, it takes time. It takes time to like really find what spaces you want to be in, what people you connect with, and to feel comfortable in something like that. So that's valid.
Yes,
Awesome. Now, burnout is a word in social work. It's well, I don't
it
think we ever
is.
stop talking about it. Have you ever been burned out before? Like what have you kind of seen with burnout in social work?
Have I ever been burnt out before? I don't even let myself get to that point. If
Ah,
I'm
good for
like
you.
I'm like when the laptop shut and the office license off, I meditate
Hmm.
before I leave out the office space. You have
Yay.
to know your point. You have to know when it's time to step back and pull inwards. Um, and for me, it's boundaries, balance, and breathe. Those are my three
Hmm.
key B's. Like
I
boundaries is
like
a
that.
key because you can't help others effective if you're constantly overextending yourself. If you're constantly
Hmm.
overextending yourself, right? You can't, you're not effective to anyone. And
Yeah.
then balance. Balance look different for everyone, but like making time to rest, making time to spend with your family, to enjoy your holidays, to do whatever you do spiritually. Um, that's non-negotiable for me. Like I have to have balance. I have to have balance. These are things that I learned and I reflect on when I was learning about becoming a leader and being in those spaces.
Hmm.
I cannot be a good leader if I'm burnt out because that will trickle down to my team.
Yeah.
So being in
No,
a
that's very
leadership role, you have to have boundaries, balance, and breathe. And
true. Hmm.
breathing doesn't mean just air in, air out, but that's remembering that's remembering to slow down, breathe, and be
Hmm.
present. Be present in the moment. I also
Mm.
encourage social workers to invest in therapy for themselves and
Oh,
to seek
please do.
supervision that's supportive, not just administrative, right? You don't just need a
Hmm.
supervision, you need someone that's supportive. You need to
Hmm.
invest in therapy for yourself as well. Like this is important. I encourage all social workers to have a therapist yourself.
Hmm. No, that's very true. Because I do think, oh, it's just so essential, especially when maybe if you don't have supports in those other ways, like good supervision or supportive supervision or anything like that, or you're feeling isolated. Like therapy, obviously, we're social workers. We love therapy, but sometimes it can be hard for us to do it for ourselves. But it is so important to have that safe space for yourself to process things and get support.
And even if you're not a fan of therapy, like, I don't want a therapist. I'm a therapist. Well, what about coaching? What if you go get a
Hmm.
coach then? Why would a life coach? Someone that's not a therapist that's going to motivate you or give you what you need in a
Yeah.
different type of way. Why not do a life
Hmm.
coach, right? You know, if that's your prerogative, whatever suits you and that makes you feel balanced and have
Hmm.
boundaries and breathe, you do it. Whatever that looks like
Mm.
to you.
Yeah. No, that's so true. What have you, I'm wondering, because we're talking a lot about like leadership too. Um, what have you learned just in your different leadership positions in terms of what things are really important in a leader in social work?
Being understanding,
Hmm.
being flexible but not
That's
too
huge.
flexible, understanding because I've you will have as a leader your staff coming to you thinking they're going to get a therapy session. That's where the boundaries come
Yeah.
in at, right? That's
Mm-hmm.
where the boundaries come in. Hey, here's this, information on EAP, or this is a conversation you should center with your therapist, right? So definitely that is important as a leader.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like
No, that's huge.
knowing, yes, knowing when is coming from professional to personal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I do feel like I've noticed it is easy for people, for social workers, like in this work, to blur those lines, even though we are so like we can speak that about our clients and having those boundaries in terms of supervision, because obviously personal stuff can come up, or someone could be feeling some type of way about something. It can definitely be easy to slip into that, but you still have to remember, like, hold on, like this is still the supervision space, and that has its own importance to it and role in it. And but that's also why those other things are important, like therapy, self-care, boundaries, mentorship, building community in other aspects too. It all kind of supports each other because each of those things has a different role and purpose and impact.
Yes.
Mm. Wow. And so I'm feeling energized. I just love I love talking to social workers. It's so exciting. So for you, I mean, you're big on self-care, you got your boundaries, you've got all of it. Has and you said like you haven't even really let yourself get to the point of burnout. Has there ever been, I guess, like any moments for you where you weren't at burnout, but you were like, gosh, I like something needs to change or else I'm gonna get there?
Yes. And as soon as I feel that way, I run to the spa. I decompress. I'm big on the spa. I will run to the spa in a heartbeat. Where you at for Wednesday? Girl, I'm at the spa. Oh, where you at on a Friday night? I'm at the spa. Like
That's awesome.
I'm like, no. And then I take that time at the spa to reflect, to
Hmm.
read, to journal, to pull inwards, and to love myself a little more during that time and during that space. Um,
Mm,
I've seen what burnout could do. I've talked
yeah.
to many social workers and different leaders that experience burnout where they stop caring, right? They're in a
Hmm.
space where they want to be here, but don't have the capacity to be here. They You have to show up for your team when you could barely show up for yourself. And you're in this
Hmm.
position and it's just like, when did this happen? And
Yeah.
that's where you have to be in tune with yourself, and you have to know yourself and know, like, you know what, today was a day I need to decompress. I need to go for a
Hmm.
walk. I need to i need to do whatever I need to do to pull this out so I can refill my cup with something else.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a moment of, it's not just noticing and an awareness, but it's like action after that. Because I feel like so many people I've talked to, like they notice the signs of burnout. They notice themselves just like spiraling down something really unhealthy or unhelpful, but there's not really followed by an action or of just like, well, okay, let me change this, let me set a boundary, let me go to the spa or do XYZ.
Yes.
That is very, very helpful. Ugh. Any like in your experience with like people that you've worked with in your leadership role, where's it hardest for people to set boundaries?
Don't want supervision, because that's where your
Mm-hmm.
staff is coming in, that one-on-one supervision. They're coming
Mm-hmm.
in, want to, tell you their life story. Like I said, wanted to be a therapy session, want to make
Yeah.
up excuses on why this not done, that's not done.
Mm-hmm.
And us as social workers, we're so quick to be empathetic. We're so quick to be
Yeah.
sympathetic. We're so quick to sometimes be the problem solver, fix it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Olivia Pope. We turn into Olivia Pope. Like, we gotta fix it. What are we gonna do, right? And
Mm-hmm.
that could be hard. That could be hard because social workers, we all have a really big heart. We
Yeah.
we do this because we love to help people, and we think the world could be such a better place, and we want to be one of those people that make it a better place. But in a leadership role and being in those leadership spaces, sometimes you have to make big executive decisions that is for the bigger picture. And at that moment,
Mm-hmm.
sometimes you don't see it. I've been in spaces where I had to make hard decisions. I've been in spaces where I had to let someone go. I've been in spaces where,
Mm,
like I had to tell someone, like, this isn't working. And as much as
yeah.
I want it to work, or as much as I want to give them multiple chances to fix it, I have to think about the clients. I have to think about the bigger picture. And
Mm-hmm.
that's what makes you a strong leader, is being able
Mm-hmm.
to wear so many different hats and still be able to show up for yourself and show up for others.
Yeah. Yeah, that's so true. And that's, I mean, in all of us, you're saying that's why boundaries are so important. Because you're right, like it is so easy for things to quickly derail. That empathy is the empathy is strong. You relate to the person that's maybe talking to you, and it's just like, no, and you can still be compassionate and empathetic and also have firm boundaries. So that way you can be the best leader and in the best role that you can be.
Yes, you can.
Yeah.
You definitely can be.
Oh, this has been so helpful. I'm feeling energized. This is really, I am loving this. I'm wondering, Tanisha, for you, what's just one piece of advice? And it's sometimes hard to boil it down to one thing, but for the social workers, social work students, whoever in this profession is listening, what's one piece of advice you would give to them?
Hey, y'all. So, the one piece of advice that I would give to you is to stay connected to your why.
Mm,
The systems, the world, policies, things could be very discouraging, but
yes, very.
your why will always center you. You are
Mm,
needed, your voice, your perception, your compassion. So keep showing up, keep learning, and know that even small acts of impact will still change lives. Even little small things you're doing will still impact someone's life. So stay connected to your why you decided to do social work. Why did you decide to be a leader? Why you decided to be a case manager? Why you decided to be a therapist? Stay connected. It will always center
mhm,
you when you feel discouraged.
mm. That is so, so true. It is just like a grounding moment to be like there's still good that's happening. There's still good in like the work that we're doing. Sometimes we just have to shift our perspective and remind ourselves of that.
Yes.
Wow. Tisha, this has been so great. I'm excited that you're a social worker. I'm excited that you're in the field. I just it's making me energized about social work and seeing everyone just who's in it, and it's just very exciting. For those listening, where can they like keep up with you and what you're doing?
Yes, thanks. So, thank you so much for having me. It's been such a pleasure to share my heart and perception on the field of social work. I am really passionate about creating safe spaces for healing, growth, and leadership, especially for those who are often overlooked. If you'd like to
Hmm.
stay connected or learn more about the work that I'm doing, you could follow me on Instagram at Safe Space Behavioral Health. I know the name is long. It's Safe
That's okay.
Space Behavioral Health, or my website, www.safespacebehavioralhealth.org. You can also reach out to my website or email if you're interested in collaborations, workshops, anything social work. I'm here. And I also want to leave saying, remember, healing is a journey and you deserve to take up space in your own, whatever that look like to you. But I want you to take up space wherever you at in this field of social work, in your journey of becoming a social worker, in your journey of getting your license, wherever you are, just take up space and be present in the moment because you deserve
Ah,
it.
that's right. That is right. Deserve it. Oh, that's a beautiful sentiment to end on. Well, thank you so much, Tanisha. For those listening, feel free to check out Tanisha's information below. You can keep up with her. And thank you all so much for listening. We will see you next time.
Yes. Bye bye.